Hey, this is Cyber and Scroll giving a review for 12 Monkeys, Episode 7, Meltdown. This episode was great. Cassie, basically, of course, the previous episode was contacted by the witness, and he was trying to put. He messed with her mind. He messed with her mind. And so everybody's back in the facility. It's 2044, and Cassie believes that she sees the witness tampering with the time machine. And she, she really does think she sees him doing it. But actually, you figure out later in the episode that it was her tampering with it under the influence of whatever they put Cassie on. So basically, the time machine is in a constant splinter, and so the whole facility is filled with basically these time like mutants and just military men who guard the facility in the 50s when it was a military base, and they got to figure out how do you fix the machine. And so basically, this episode was one that was mainly kept in 2044, and it worked for the most part. I would say this episode wasn't one of my favorites for this season, but it was definitely a well put together story. So Dr. Eklund ends up at the end of the episode sacrificing himself for to fix the machine basically and shut off the splinter. And it's it's a pretty emotional moment because Rayleigh had just gotten, or not Rayleigh, who am I trying to think of? Katarina Jones, Dr. Jones, had just gotten her, with the timeline fixed, she had this husband, and they were finally getting close again. And just to see him die in that way, sacrificing himself, was like a pretty emotional moment. But you don't really have time to take it in because of the gravity of the situation. But this episode is great too because Cole, Deacon, and Ramses end up working together, going through the facility to try to get Cassie before she messes with anything else. And it's fun seeing the dynamic between all three of them because Cole and Ramses absolutely hate Deacon. The another emotional moment that happens too is Ramses' son gets sucked up into the machine, and you don't know if he died, where he went, and as far as I know from watching later episodes this season, you still don't know. And so that's a plot line that will probably be explained later, but they end up shutting off the machine, so the power, or shutting off the power generation device, the power cell, so it doesn't overload and blow up the machine. And of course, Eklund sacrificed himself to change that piece on the time machine, and it was an amazing episode. Whenever the machine was fixed, all the mutants and people from the past went back. It corrected history. But basically, this episode was, to boil it down, they had a problem with the facility because Cassie was under the influence, and it was like a very, I don't know, it didn't progress the plot at all, but it was a very good standalone episode. It really worked with the characters' dynamics, put Katarina in a place we hadn't seen her before with the emotional dynamic. She was just getting comfortable, and then basically her husband gets ripped away. Ramses was just getting comfortable, and then his son gets ripped away. It really worked. It was a great episode. Everything about it. The action, there wasn't as much action in this episode, but it didn't need it because you had character development and plot development. Or not really plot development for the overall plot, but a lot of character development. And so I would give this episode about, I'd give it an 8.8 because really this episode works as a standalone episode, but in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't matter. Like, it was just a problem that they solved with the facility. But an 8.8, I would just give it an 8.8 because it was fantastic, but it wasn't like on par with the previous episode of Mortal, which was just like insane. So, and I'd give it an 8.8. This is a review for 12 Monkeys, the 12 Monkeys episode Meltdown. This is Sideburn Scroll signing off.